Hey guys, I'm Bethany.
I don't know what to do. We haven't done this in a while.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do here?
You introduce yourself.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
My name is Dalton, and I approve this message. It is campaign time.
It is. Good grief.
Time for me to approve all of the messages.
I've started getting the text message. Okay, there's some lady named Sonia who apparently gave some political someone or other my phone number as her phone number. And if I get one more text to Sonia, I'm going to lose my mind.
I keep getting them from Kentucky, and I don't even live there anymore.
But don't worry. They don't ever mess the elections up. Anywho, before we turn into a political podcast, hello, everyone.
Hello, random people of the world.
We are here. We are back.
Ish.
Yeah, I was going to say we are here. We are thriving.
No,
But I don't
what?
know that is. I said I was going to say that, and I got through we're here and was like, well, that's about all we got today. Anyway, we're not going to dwell on that. We're here. We're happy to be here. And yeah.
We are here. Let's do some housekeeping before we get into things.
Normal old housekeeping stuff. We have social media. You should hang out with us there. Even though
What do you mean hang out with us?
We don't hang out with us there. We're going to do better at getting more active in the social things. So Instagram, LFTM_podcast, or on Facebook for the ladies, we have the LFTM community group there, which you are welcome to join. We would love to have you. That's thing one. Thing two, we do have a Patreon where we go a little more in depth. We do exclusive content for you guys, and we'd love to have you join us there too, now that we are back on a regular posting schedule, which we will explain more later. And then the third thing is the newsletter, which, let's be honest, you can go sign up for it. I haven't sent one in a few weeks, but I will try to do better at that too.
Which we will explain later. People, there is so much to get into on this here podcast. A lot of questions that need to be answered.
Okay.
Updates that need to be given, and we will get into all of that. But first...
Question of the day.
Question of the day. I don't actually remember who we left off with, but I just decided it was me.
Okay, go.
We're going to do something different.
Oh, yay.
It's something unique.
Okay.
It's still questions.
Okay.
Well, it's questions, no longer just questions.
Oh.
We're gonna do Who Knows Who Better.
Wait, do you get to pick all the questions that you know the answers to that I won't?
No, you can pick out some questions if you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
You can try and get some stump questions going on here.
Okay.
We'll start with an easy one.
Okay.
Who takes longer to get ready in the morning between the two of us?
Honestly, it's probably you.
How long do you think it takes me to get ready in the morning?
I would say an hour.
An hour?
From the time your eyes open till you are out the door,
no.
an hour.
No. That
Is that
does
not how this
count.
works?
Like getting ready, the action of getting ready.
Oh, I'd say we're probably pretty close to the same then. About half an hour.
You're only half an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, I am too. Okay, what do you think my morning routine looks like?
I think...
Not counting the waking up and occasionally doom scrolling.
Okay. So we're out of the bed.
Yes. That's a big achievement in and of itself.
Okay, I think you have shower.
Uh-huh.
Either shower then coffee or coffee then shower. I'm 50-50
No,
on
you
this.
have to
I
pick
don't
one.
really know. Okay, I'm going to go with shower then coffee.
Okay, good.
Then you've got to brush your teeth, take care of your beard, whatever that entails, and also your recently discovered more in-depth skincare routine.
Moisturizer, people. I discovered I should have been using that.
We just had this long conversation today, and he was like, do you know what I have recently found out?
No one tell men skincare routines. We are just supposed to know these things.
And not only that, they do you such a disservice because every soap out there for men is like 12 in 1.
I could change my oil with my body wash.
Exactly. It's not fair.
It is not. Okay. See, I feel like this is how well I know you. Because I think the time would change depending on what you do that day. Because some mornings you'll go to the gym and then you'll come here
Right.
and you don't do your makeup until you come here.
That's
So
very
I don't
true.
know if that counts against your time.
I feel a little bit...
Seen?
Yeah, because I was like, ooh, I'm going to get him because I'd be like, well, sometimes they go to the gym. And then my other like gotcha moment was, well, I don't always have to wash my hair in the morning, so it takes a very different amount of time. So I thought I was like,
No, you
thought
can't get away with that.
the upper hand here.
Okay,
but
I'm going to go
not.
with a normal morning.
Okay.
When you don't decide you're going to do your makeup at church and actually do it at home like a normal human being. I am going to guess your routine is 37.5 minutes.
That's probably pretty close.
I just wanted it to be higher than mine.
Yeah. No, I will say normal morning, probably about 45 minutes. If I'm not lazy. If I get distracted easily, it might end up being an hour, in which case I'm like, ooh, traffic on the way here was just rough.
Lies.
No, it's not, because all I say is, oh, man, 9:85, huh?
Normally what I do when I come into work and I'm late, I just go, I did not want to function this morning. I'm honest about it.
So out there about it, yes. Okay, so yes, I do take longer.
I will wake up and then turn on the shower. It's not good for a water bill, and I may or may not sit in the floor for a few extra minutes scrolling on my phone. And I'm like, oh crap, I turned the shower on.
Okay, so like at your apartment, like I've lived in apartments before where it was just a flat rate of like all 2-bedroom apartments pay this much, or all basically the entire water bill of the whole complex then subdivided. And I've also lived in ones where it's like, okay, your actual water consumption, which
I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to it. They just give me a bill and I say,
just Matt do all the bills.
No, actually, I do all the bills.
Okay,
I just don't pay attention to it. It's not like it's going to change anything anyway.
Well, that's true. Anyway.
You had to pay for it one way or the other.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Unless you wanted to ask another question.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Who has the worst road rage between the two of us?
Oh, absolutely you, because I don't have any. And I can call witnesses.
Who do you have that are witnesses in my road rage?
No, I have witnesses that I don't have any.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I will be in the car on the phone with someone yelling at someone in front of me. It's hilarious. My mom hates when I'm on the phone with her while I'm in the car because I'll just honk at random people and she'll panic. She'll be like, is everything okay? Did you get in a wreck? Somebody cut you off? Like, no, somebody just did something stupid on the road and I wanted to let them know about it.
Like that one day. Okay, so there had been like this really tragic accident on the highway a while back. Well,
I know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to see where you're going with this.
Well, hold on, because I was like 2 cars behind. Like, we're talking police flying
right
up the highway the wrong way. Like, I had front row action.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm texting Dalton and I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to be here forever. Like, I'm just stuck on the highway. I have, like, the police have completely blocked off the entire interstate.
I was less than 50 yards behind you.
Well, I know, but that's the thing is I'm texting Dalton and he's like, oh, that's what's going on. He's like, I'm behind you. And then the next thing I know, he's like, well, someone's about to die. Like, someone's about to, like, just all this road rage and all this whatever. And he's talking about these other people. And I'm sitting there going, how much of that was you just wanting to poke the bear and
in this
make
big
it
truck,
interesting?
Me in this big truck behind me may or may not have been playing chicken with other cars trying to drive up the shoulder.
Exactly.
It was fun until the big cars started trying to push me off the road, and I went back to where I was and let the big truck handle it.
Handle it? Yeah.
But we were homies for that moment there.
Did you feel like part of the resistance?
Yes,
teach them the lesson?
did. I was taking a stand until they found a way around me anyway. Here's
so
the
yes,
next question.
Definitely you have more road
Next
road
question.
rage. Yes.
And I'll say it for you.
Okay.
If I went to jail, what would be the reason?
Trespassing, because you were hunting on land you shouldn't be.
No.
Yeah, it would.
The first part would be correct. The second part would not be correct.
Okay.
The hunting on land part, I'm terrified of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I can just totally see you. Like, there's this perfect deer or whatever you're hunting, turkeys, whatever
deer,
else.
yes, but...
And it's like you're on there and it's like right over where you're supposed to be. And you're like, I could just drag it over here. I could totally see you like botching that.
No, see, I would never do that one.
Okay.
Because then you lose your hunting license and you never hunt again. And I'm not going to do that. But the trespassing part, that's pretty accurate.
Because you're like pranking someone?
No, I love going into houses that are not yet built.
Oh.
My aunt and uncle's neighborhood has so many different houses that they're currently building right now. And they live in a bougie neighborhood, people. So me and my
gated,
cousin,
isn't it?
Oh yeah,
like security guard, name on the list.
Oh yeah. I have to have a little barcode on my window in order to get in. It's great. Me and my cousin took their golf cart and drove around their neighborhood and just went into random houses that they were building. One of them, there was a car coming down that road, and they were the only ones there. And I may or may not have. I was outside, taken off back into the house and hidden somewhere.
So yes,
I love doing that. Sneaking into houses that people are building to see, ooh, what do you have? What's your floor plan going to be?
there's
And guessing.
if there's not a door, it's not trespassing
Yeah.
or something.
Even if there is.
That would be my
and
defense.
I open it and
If it's
go
not
in.
locked, they're just asking for you to
Or
come
find ways to get in. Yeah, it's...
in. Okay, we're going to stop talking there.
Okay.
Got it.
I think...
Do you, though?
I do. Your reason for going to jail would be murder.
Really?
Because you like listening to these true crime podcasts,
Yeah.
and you know how to commit the perfect crime, and you wouldn't be some little crime. You would
Go big or go
finally
home.
snap one day after all of the crap that you go through, and you would kill someone, but you would do it in such a way where you would know how to hide the body, and you would be turned into a true crime podcast in and of yourself.
In and of myself. Okay, so I need a chance to defend myself.
No.
However,
Am I off?
I was about to say I'm going to try to defend myself. However, I don't know that you're too far off base. So my job that I worked for the church,
Exactly. This is just proving my point further.
we did play a game called "If you killed someone, how'd you get rid of the body?"
What is wrong with you?
I'm just saying it was the kind of stuff we talked about because we saw stuff and so yeah, I
feel like it's a very accurate
I'm also
assessment.
the weird person that, like, I've always said, you know how if you listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and stuff, you'll hear about these people who confess to things that they didn't do. And I get it. If you're, like, being interrogated for, like, running a red light, after a while you're just gonna be like, okay, fine, I ran the red light. It's not a big deal, right? But I would like to think that if someone is interrogating me for a murder that I know I didn't commit, it doesn't matter what they say. I'm going to be like, no, I didn't. Like, I don't understand people confessing to things like that they've never done. And so I've always said I'd really like to be interrogated one time.
What is wrong with you?
Just because I'm like, there must be something. Like, I'd really like to just
You have really strange aspirations in life. I don't understand them.
It's taken me far.
Yeah.
I know. I'm weird. Anyway, okay, yeah. So I was partially right. Yeah, you're probably right too.
I was extremely right.
Yeah, probably.
Extremely right.
probably
Okay,
were.
last one.
Okay.
This is the easy one.
Okay.
Who is more of a go out person and who is more of a stay in person?
I'm totally the more go out person.
With other people.
Oh.
Little Miss, I like to go to the movies by
I was
myself.
going to say, never mind. I usually go out by myself.
That's why I thought it was a trick question.
Yeah.
Neither one of us.
Yeah, probably neither. But I do go out more on my own than you do.
But,
No? Do you? Okay, maybe you do more than I realize.
I mean, I go out, hang out with friends.
No, I'm saying I just... there's times where it's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'm kind of bored.
No, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock
I
at
don't really
night.
wanna
It's time
see
to tuck
people.
her in.
I'm just like, oh,
get your PJs on
lap
and get
around
under a
Target
blanket.
because there's people, but I don't have to talk to them.
No.
Oh, that's
no,
like my
no.
social introvert. Like,
No.
that's my thing. Is I like to go places where there are people around, but there is no expectation of interacting with them.
No.
Don't ruin my dreams over here, okay?
It's too late.
You don't have to like it. I do.
It's so messed up. It's 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I'm like big oversized hoodie, pajama pants, under a blanket.
Okay. So this past Sunday, we had like a Friendsgiving thing at Dalton and Matt's apartment. Now, Matt was the one putting it together, and it was all our friends. Dalton...
I wasn't even supposed to be there.
Right. So his plans changed. So we're all there hanging out. Dalton gets there, and he's like, hey.
With my comfort food.
Yeah, basically, Huey Magoo's, which I do know that.
Yeah.
Do you know my comfort food? I bet you don't. There's my question. I know yours. What's mine?
This is not fair.
I have talked about it on this podcast multiple times.
Oh, comfort food or favorite food?
Comfort.
Dang. Because I was going to say that Takiura thing is your favorite food.
It is. That is my favorite restaurant. You're correct.
Comfort food. Mac and cheese?
No.
Dang, I don't know.
Fries from McDonald's.
Oh.
You turn up your nose at everything I say.
Here's the thing. The thing with fries with McDonald's is when done right.
Oh, yes.
They're the best.
They are.
They are rarely ever done right.
Well, yeah. Okay, but the reason behind it. Okay, so this story time for a second. When I was little.
Story time.
Whenever we would get sick, obviously Mom would take us to the doctor. They'd give us medicine. They'd give you a shot, whatever it is to like make you feel better. So then an appropriate amount of time would pass for the medicine to kick in, which is also about the amount of time it took for us to get out of the doctor's office. And she would take us through McDonald's because we just had a traumatic experience and get us some fries on the way home from the doctor. So in my child brain, McDonald's fries make you feel better.
See, we got
and it still works today.
We got a Blockbuster movie, and now Blockbuster is closed,
Oh,
so my entire
no.
childhood is just ruined.
Oh, that's sad.
So I have nothing. No
Oh.
comfort in sickness.
If McDonald's ever goes
Just
out
misery.
of business, I'm doomed.
Yeah, you're in
I
trouble.
think I'm okay though.
Yeah, I think you got that covered.
Anywho, no, so we're back to Friendsgiving. Dalton comes home with his comfort food, and we're hanging out. We're playing games. We're like, "Oh, you're here! Like, play a game with us. We're gonna have food in a little bit." We had
No.
done apps. We were gonna have food later. Dalton's like, "No." He's like, "I'm going to take." It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Dalton's like, "I'm going to take a nap," which I'm like, one, we're right on the other side of your wall. You're never gonna actually fall asleep.
Oh, I did.
And two, why are you such a Grinch?
I was asleep for an hour. It was great.
You did come back out
Okay.
in a much better mood.
Look, I just gotten home from my day being twice as long as I thought it was going to be.
Fine.
Difficult counseling situation.
I know.
I was tired. I wanted to go spend all of my time in the woods alone. But no. There were a bunch of people in my safe space.
That you knew were going to be there.
I knew they were going to be there. But still, after the day that I had that was unexpected, I just wanted to check out for a little while.
And you
I
did.
did by snoring.
Which we didn't hear you.
I don't
so.
snore.
Oh, okay.
I just say that I'm snoring. That's the way that I sleep. There are very rare times that I snore.
Yeah.
And I know it because my sinuses hurt the next day. And then they will hurt for 2 days.
Oh, you are such a wimp and
I
an
don't
old
snore.
man all in one.
I am an old man. Get
Yes.
over it.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm the one that goes out more because you're an old man. Anyway, that was our last
I
question.
don't even like going out that much.
I know.
I am far more on the introverted side now of my social introverted self. Less of the social.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot more just in the 2.5 years I've known you.
Uh-huh.
There's been a
I wonder
noticeable.
This is what the trajectory of my social life has been.
Oh, I say all because it's accurate.
So,
Okay,
we've been gone for a while.
we have.
First of all, sorry.
Yeah, our bad. I think the last episode we recorded, we were talking like there's a lot going on in a lot of different areas.
Be patient with us.
Yeah, and we're like, so then after that, we both proceeded to get sick.
Yes.
Then I had to go out of town for a week. Then you went out of town for a week. Last week was Thanksgiving, and here we are.
Yeah. It's
So
been a
that's
little
the
chaotic.
high level.
That's a high level chaos. Interesting time. It has been an interesting time.
Yes.
I don't really have a lot of updates.
Okay.
At this point,
Yes.
we're more on you.
Yeah.
So, okay, last we really updated on the podcast, kind of the beginning of the season. We
Yes.
were talking about all of the things that have been missed.
Yes.
I have gone on several first dates and things like that, but have had nothing stick. We're still doing
I
that.
say that's still going on.
Even though I will say my friends have given me a really good recent change in perspective
Okay.
with all of that and talking about, my buddy always calls it, at least you're getting at bats.
it's true.
It's a way
It is true.
to look at that positively.
I mean, you swing and miss every
That
time.
is just
but
hurt. Hey, it's not always me.
I couldn't resist. No, it's not.
always me.
It's not.
It's just so unhelpful and so unkind.
not.
You see what I have to deal with every single
my
day.
word.
I'm such a nice person and should verbally abuse him. I can't even get through that
You
sentence
can't
without
even
laughing.
say that. You know it's not true. And so
it-
does everyone else out there. I'm such a nice person.
New perspective. New
Yeah.
perspective. Just seeing as the Lord is providing abundant opportunities to learn about myself, learn about other people, giving me chances to grow in those areas, teaching me that I can sometimes, by sometimes I mean most of the time, be driven by my emotions rather than faith and truth. So it's been a good learning process. So that's me.
Yeah.
But there's been some other things that have been going on with you, I think, which was a
Yes.
big part of why we recorded kind of that shorter episode several weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago. Hey, we've got a lot going on. At that
Yeah.
time, everything was still
It was
fresh
very
and brand
in
new.
the thick of things.
So we didn't want to talk about it at that time. But
Yes.
I think it's good for everyone to kind of understand we've been absent for a while with no real explanation.
Yeah.
So there's been chaos in both of our lives. Mine's just more the normal day-to-day chaos. But there has been a big life change
Sure.
for you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to kind of open up the floor to you and let you share what you want to share, and I'll probably ask questions along the way.
Yes, please do, because I'll forget or whatever.
Last we spoke, really difficult situation. What is that difficult situation?
Yes.
What has it been? What's gone on?
So, I was trying to think, like, sometimes it's hard to just, like, jump into conversation, so I've been trying to think, like, how do you, like, start into this? And so I'm just going to go with the rip the Band-Aid off approach.
There's no real good way to jump into it.
Then we will unpack it from there. So, yeah, so we talked, and part of the tough part is, like, none of these conversations are in real time. So, like, it's stuff that happened a while ago for me, or, I mean, just a few weeks, but whatever. But it's like, I don't know, trying to keep timelines straight. So, when we started the season, obviously, big announcement, engaged, getting married, like, all of those things, which had happened probably 2 months before we actually released that. And so now, about a month ago, I did have to make the tough decision to just not continue with that. And the tough part, well, I mean, obviously that was in and of itself was like very tough. Like I said, we took all of that time off. When I say the tough part related to the podcast is knowing what to share and what not to. Because, I mean, I think for both of us, we're pretty open books. But we also signed up for this.
Yeah.
We signed up to be an open book, to tell you guys what's going on. And that's really easy, or easier, when it's a first date here, a first date there, and you're just recounting experiences. No one was invested. There, like, it's this faceless, nameless person in a sense. But when it progresses past that, like, obviously you want to be considerate of that other person and just all of the attachments and investment that's made. And so I've gone back and forth of, like, what's appropriate to share and what's not in this arena. And I mean, that's a big, way back when Kristen and I started the show, we said, I think on one of the first couple of episodes, like, we made the commitment and made the agreement, we're not going to talk about our personal relationships in real time. And we're also not ever going to have anyone on the show until, like, you're engaged and all those things, because that other person didn't sign up for this. And so in that same way, it's like, okay, made this big announcement, and now that is not going to happen. I still want to be respectful and considerate of the other person. And so I think, but I also don't want to be, like, just super vague and just leave it at that. Yeah. And so trying to find that balance has been tough.
Well, one of the things I would say, just as we jump into this conversation, I appreciate and admire about you is the way that you have approached this. We had a conversation before we turned on the microphones of, okay, how are we going to do this? Yeah. What's the best way to handle this? And you were really, really, really focused on, I don't want to say anything that's gossip. I don't want to say anything that's slander.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right approach of you want to tell the facts as best you can, but not get too deep into the weeds, but also present it in such a way where you're not slandering someone else.
Sure. Yeah.
Which I really appreciate and admire. So as we kind of get into this conversation, it is big news and it's sad news.
Yeah.
And difficult news, and it was hard to watch you go through those things, though there were times where I was a little locked up and ready to fight people. But that's a different conversation in and of itself.
Yes.
So that's kind of the focus of how really you're going to approach this. We've talked about this behind closed doors. Yeah. So I guess share what you want to share, but kind of what was the turning point, or what was the reason as at high level as you can give it?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting, the timing. Even so, like I said, we had gotten engaged probably about 2 months before we ever released the season premiere episode. Which is about a month before then I ended up having to kind of call things off. And so there were some big issues that kind of presented themselves about the time of releasing that episode. And it was kind of this, like, well, what if I put this out there and then it doesn't work out? What if we can't work through this? What if? And I was like, well, I kind of had this thought of, like, we're working through it. We've been transparent up until this point. Let's just continue that. So I went ahead with releasing the episode. And so there were some big issues that came up that at the outset it was like, okay, let's work through this. Let's figure this out and continue on our trajectory. But then as we progressed through that, it just kind of, what started out as, like, here's some issues we need to work through, kind of became, we view these issues very differently, which that becomes the issue then of like, okay, this isn't just, we got to figure out how to work through this. We have some very different viewpoints on things. And it was not things that it went from things we just need to work through to things that we just can't work through.
Now, when you say, because I know you're being intentionally vague, but let me kind of paint a picture here of when you talk about things that we just can't get through. I think it's easy for people to assume, oh, it's just personality differences, things like that. That's not what it was.
No, it was like differing in how we viewed what the Bible has to say about some things, and then it differing like, what does a biblical resolution to these things look like?
Yeah.
And so it's things that it's not like, oh, well, you don't like McDonald's fries and I do, and well, we just can't, like, I don't know, that's obviously very trivial, but like, it was not, that's when I say it became something that's like, okay, we can't just work through this. It wasn't just, okay, how do we communicate? It was like, how do we view what biblical communication may be in that sense? And so it kind of, morphed to, this is not something that you just work through and power through. This is something that the Lord has brought up now, that is a big deal.
Well, it's non-negotiable. And we talked about this before on the show of you do need to have your list of non-negotiables of things that you just won't move past.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this situation, those things started coming up post-engagement.
Right.
But I think it is important to note, it's not just a disagreement on preferences or personality. Right. Like we're talking about disagreements on how you approach the scriptures and the application of the scriptures, as well as, biblical reconciliation, biblical resolution, those type things that you couldn't get past.
Right. And so and that was something, we've talked a lot about, and we've talked a lot about on the show of like, you don't get to marriage and it magically flips a switch and everything's okay. And so in thinking about like, okay, what am I going to do? How do I proceed with this? That was in my head of like, okay, there's the part of you that wants to say, okay, just power through and we'll get married and everything will be okay. Like, cause then we're married but marriage is a magnifying glass. It's not something that just makes things better. And so I wrestled with that of, okay, what is the best decision? And it was I don't know, there was an element of okay, are you going to practice what you preach or are you not? When the rubber meets the road, when it's time to actually apply what I've said all these years in this show, I had to stop and think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
And because I've talked to you guys, I've known people who things come up and you just push through them and you think it will just get better. And I don't know. It might have. The Lord may have worked in that. I don't know, but it was not, the wisdom said, stop now, don't proceed. And so it was a test. I mean, it was a major like back and forth in my mind of, okay, do I trust the Lord that making this decision that I don't want to make, that I don't want to have to decide, that I don't want to have to do I trust the Lord that he will provide? Do I trust that he is good? Do I actually believe these things that I have said, or do I not? And so I made the decision that I did. I called it off, and that's where we are. It was about a month ago, a little over now. But I mean, there's still those moments of like, do I believe the Lord is good? Because when you're so close to something, I had a friend, I was at their house not long ago, and we were just kind of talking about it because I hadn't seen him in a while, and it was a couple here at the church, and the husband, he was like, I kind of told them what had been going on. And he said, okay, like right off the bat, well, what's the Lord taught you in this? And it kind of puts you on your heels for a second. And I know there will be more, like, it's still very new right now. And so I know there will be more and more as I look back on like things the Lord has taught me in that. But it was, I don't know, just when he asked that, it was just it was a little bit of a mindset shift of, what is, like, the Lord is teaching, the Lord is at work. Like, what is he teaching? What is he doing? And yeah, do I believe that he's good? And, you know, my answer to his question was like the thing that I'm learning the most right now in this moment is that, like, trusting the Lord is worth it. But also that, like, when you let your focus shift from him,
Mm-hmm.
even in the slightest bit, how quickly we lose sight of all of him then, in that sense, a little bit. And that was just for me of, like, when you try to put something else in the place of what pursuing the Lord should be in your life, just how quickly that out of balance snowballs, was the thing that, like, was immediate in my head right then that I've been learning. And like I said, I'm sure there will be more. I'm sure that, and, you know, down the road too, I mean, I am still an open book from the standpoint of what I have learned about myself, what I have learned about God, what he has shown me about, you know, just relationships and those things. I will talk about that more and more as we go. It's still right now just, I want to be, I don't know, trying to figure out how to communicate those things and keep it solely what I am learning and because I don't want to put somebody else's business out there. They didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
And so I want to walk that line well. But also, you know, you guys have been with us, with me for 5-6 years now. So it's not that I owe you an explanation, but I want you to know, like, I want you to kind of know, like, what's going on. Yeah. And also this will be something that I think will hopefully be helpful for some of you. Like, you know, there may be someone out there who's wrestling with, what do I do? There may be someone who's just gone through a big breakup like that. And so just kind of walking through those things together, there's encouragement there for both of us. So,
yeah, I think one of the cool things that I watched throughout the process, because I was behind the scenes more than I would say the majority of people.
Oh, sure.
And getting to hear what was going on and see what was going on. And one of the things that you said at the very outset was your major comfort was that the Lord was in control, which a lot of times I have a hard time dealing with. You look at the Lord's Prayer, and one of the first things that you say in the Lord's Prayer is, "Not my will, but your will be done." That's easy to say in a structured prayer.
Yeah.
That's hard when you're living it. When suddenly your plans and your desires are put up against God's will, and you have to make a choice of, am I going to do the most faithful thing, or am I going to do what I want?
Yeah.
And you very clearly chose, okay, I'm going to stand upon my convictions, and I'm going to pursue the Lord. And I think that was a moment for you having to live out, not my will, but your will be done.
Yeah.
Lord, I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to follow you because I believe you're good.
Yeah.
So I thought that was something interesting coming out of it. And, you know, and we can probably touch on this in a later time, but, you know, one of the other lessons you were sharing with me was learning to identify things earlier and see the, you know, what was not instantly a major concern, but kind of small and minor things continued to culminate into bigger and bigger concerns until you arrived at the point that you did.
Well, and that's been an interesting thing of, we can talk about it more later, but we've talked about this just in the context of relationships in general, how sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you don't see issues individually maybe until you look back on them all together, if that makes sense. It's a strange thing. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of questioning because I don't know. I think that's, I don't know. I don't want to like over spiritualize something, but I think that's the way the enemy works is makes you question and makes you wonder. And, you know, you say, what did I miss? What did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Where did I whatever? And I'm not perfect in anything, obviously. But I don't think pursuing the relationship was wrong. I don't think I did something wrong. I don't think either of us did in that. Sometimes the Lord, Isaiah 55, his ways and his thoughts are not ours. And sometimes you go through something to learn something, and it may take a while. I mean, there's still, it's like, well, I look back and I say, well, okay, well, what was the point of that? Like what, like if it was never going to work out, like what? So I'm like, what was I supposed to learn? What was the, what can I take from it? And so I'm rambling now because I'm very much still in that place. Mm-hmm. This is not a looking back and I figured everything out. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure we will talk about that more as we go through the season.
and there are certain things that you might not know in this life.
Yeah.
That God will reveal in eternity.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Mm-hmm. I think
the trust.
The big point of all of this is what you shared a moment ago of, will I trust the Lord or will I not? Bottom line, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Am I going to have the faith to follow him, or am I just going to stay in this spot because it's what I would rather do? It's easier or more comfortable, when in all actuality it wouldn't have been.
Well, and that's the thing. And this is, I think, I mean, you know me, my logical brain that wants to make everything make sense, to say, God doesn't owe me an explanation.
No, he doesn't.
Like that, I may not know in this lifetime. And that's okay. And it's easy for me to say, but I want to make it all make sense. And so that's a big part of like trusting for me too, is saying it doesn't all make sense and it may not ever. And I do trust the Lord. And so I'm learning to be okay with that.
But even if it was like that one small thing.
Yeah.
Which is not a small thing, but we
right.
picked out one small thing of you learned one thing about yourself. That is enough.
Yep.
Because you look at what you just pointed out. The Lord does not owe us anything. And by anything, I mean nothing.
Anything, yeah.
He does not owe us a thing. And yet God graciously pours out his love and his mercy upon us. People that are undeserving. And in those moments, there is the promise of Scripture that God is working all things for our good and for his glory. Mm-hmm. We are not the definers of what our good is. He is, because God is our ultimate good. And at the end of the day, if you've learned more of, I need more of him and less of this world, then that you've just received the greatest good, which is more of him.
Mm-hmm. In which case, what else do you need to know? Mm-hmm. And that's just a tough thing for me.
But it's the grace of God that he is, he's still sprinkling on those.
Yes.
And this.
And this.
And this. And this. Mm-hmm. And you're looking back and going, I got it.
Well, and honestly, too, there were several things which, I don't even know if you and I have talked about, over the course of this particular relationship, that I could look back and say, this other thing I went through makes sense now because I have an understanding in this relationship. This other thing that I dealt with, now it makes sense. And so there's a compounding effect of, there may be not maybe a purpose, but there is, but like, I may look back in 10 years and say, oh, I see now. I understand now why.
Well, and that's
why this happened or that happened.
That's
or
the
whatever.
amazing part of how the Lord works, is that he prepares us a lot of times in difficult seasons for difficult seasons.
Yeah.
So like I'm able to look back and see broken relationships and broken situations that I had to struggle through and wrestle through so that God would sanctify me and prepare me to either go through similar things now or help other people go through those things now. And it's amazing to see the ways in which the Lord works and has done the same thing in your life of you've gone through things in the past that prepared you to take a stand for your faith in the present.
Yeah.
Which, again, we weren't owed that.
Right.
It's the grace of God that he has poured out on us to continue to mold us and make us more in the image of Jesus, which is the ultimate goal.
Right.
At the end of the day, no matter what we do, our desire should be, make me more like Jesus.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes for me to be more like Christ and less like this world. Yeah. And he's done that. Mm-hmm. So praise be to God. I think it's a hard story, but a great story. Because it's not really your story at the end of the day. It's a story of God's faithfulness. Mm-hmm. So they're neat to share. I'm sure you guys will have 1,000,001 questions.
And that's okay.
It's okay. I would say continue to give her time to process and think through things. Yeah. And also understand that there's just certain things that Bethany's not going to talk about.
Sure.
Whether it's from a position of she doesn't want to gossip or slander, or it's just personal details that she believes is best to be kept private.
Well, and we've even talked about that here.
Yeah.
I mean, Dalton knows most all the things. But like, we sat down in his office a couple weeks ago and I was like, probably a month ago now, because it was right after. And I said, okay, everyone doesn't need the whole story. Like, that's just not helpful. That's not fair to him. That's not kind. So I was like, so here's what I'm planning to say. Is that accurate? Is that like enough? And left it at that. And so, yeah, I mean, everyone doesn't have to know every
I think I tweaked 2
detail.
words and I was like, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're good.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people that feels like, well, if I don't say everything, then I'm not being honest. And that's not the case. And so filter. Because, yeah, I don't want to, just blast someone, or even if it's not blasting someone. There are things that just don't have to be said. And so it's not, I'd want to be secretive. It's just trying to be protective of those things. So, yes, that's where we're at.
Well, we have definitely had some curveballs thrown into our schedule.
Yep.
So, as you have well figured out, we are so far behind on the season, it's not even funny. But
yeah,
a promise is a promise.
Yes.
We have a full schedule slated. There might be another week or two in there where we have to re-air something. Because
it's the holidays, y'all.
We're in the thick of holiday season, and if you know anything about church ministry, that's the crazy time.
It is. And, normally we haven't hit those hiccups because we were ahead in recording. So when we hit them, we had a cushion. We don't have that cushion because of all that has gone on. Because, it's been a crazy time personally, obviously for me, but we both have a lot of other just tough stuff going on just in other spheres. And so we don't have that cushion. And so, like, literally y'all are listening to this on Wednesday, November 29th. We are recording it on Tuesday, November 28th. 2023. So we don't have that cushion. So bear with us. But yes, we have an entire season's worth of content planned, and you will get all of it.
And if the season just goes long, it goes
That's
long.
what I was going to say. It will not. Normally we're wrapping up at the end, like at the end of December, headed into Christmas on this fall season. That's not going to happen. We have like 4 weeks left, and we probably have 12 episodes. So you will get the full season. It will just take a little bit longer, but don't worry. We will not shortchange you in that regard.
We will not. And I think that's a good place to end.
I do too. I think that's a good place to stop. So thank you for being here, guys.
Until next time.
We appreciate it. Until next time. Normally we would say until next week. No, I'm kidding.
Until next time in the future sometime.
So we will cut it there, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. I hope you all had a very happy Thanksgiving and are looking forward to Christmas. And we will talk to you then. But until then, I'm Bethany.
And I'm Dalton.
And this is Looking for the Middle.